All right, this is question 1D, part 2. It says, how far past the signal does the train travel before it stops? Well, we've already established a few things, and the first thing we've established, I think, was that we've got some kind of a graph that looks like this. At this point here is going to be, what was it, the maximum velocity, and we worked out what the maximum velocity was at 104, and that was in meters per second. And we said that this point here just happened to be t is equal to 8. This is t, this is equal to v, and so on. So something like that. And what we're wanting to find now is when this thing here is at 0. Well, it's at 0 over here, that point there. It's also at 0 at this point here. This point doesn't really matter because this is actually before t equals 0, because t equals 0 is this line here. Not very interesting to us. And before t equals 0, well, it's immaterial what the train was doing, because we're only concerned with what it was doing as it passes the 0 and keeps going. Yeah. So what we want to find is at this point here, when the velocity drops to 0, how far has it traveled? Well, we know we can find the distance it's traveled. The distance it's traveled is going to be nice and straightforward. We're going to take the velocity, and let's do that now. So we know the velocity of the train is equal to negative t squared plus 16t plus 40. And we can find the distance it's traveled, which is going to equal the integral of the velocity with respect to time. And of course, we're going to add a c on the end there. And that's equal to, let's take this thing here, which is going to be negative t. We're going to increase the power by 1 and divide by the new power. We'll take the 16t and we'll increase the power by 1 and divide by the new power. Take the 40 and increase the power by 1 and divide by the new power and add a c to the end. So the question is, what is c? Well, we know when t equals 0, yeah, it's also traveled 0 distance, yeah? So it's traveling at 40 kilometers per hour, but we're not interested in how far it's traveled before there. So as far as we're concerned, when t is equal to 0, s must equal 0. Therefore, c is 0, because c would be any distance previously traveled. And as far as we're concerned, s is 0. So therefore, we can say, therefore, s is equal to negative t cubed on 3 plus, I'm going to tidy this up, it's going to be 8t squared plus 40t. And that is the distance. Now, of course, we want to find the distance with respect to time. We want to find the time at this point here. Yeah. So what is the time? Well, the time is when this function here, the velocity function, this one here, is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. Yes, I'm going to put when v equals 0, or when does v equal 0? Well, we know it equals 0 here and equals 0 over here. So we're going to find this point here and this point here. And to do that, we're going to have to use the quadratic formula. Now, of course, you can just plonk it straight into your calculator, but in the exam, you just can't do that. So let's rewrite this down. So v is equal to negative t squared plus 16t plus 40. So a is going to equal negative 1, b is going to be 16, and c is going to be 40. Now, because of all that, we can launch straight in and say, right, let's solve for t. So t is going to be negative b, negative 16, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 16 squared, minus 4 times a, which is negative 1, times 40. Yeah? So let's have a look. 16 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times 40. That's great. And that's all over 2 times negative 1. So therefore, let's do one more line of working. Therefore, t is equal to negative 16 plus or minus, I'm going to paraphrase this, we've got 16 squared, which is going to be square root of 256. And 4 40s are minus, that's going to be plus, what is it going to be? Plus 160, sorry. all over 2, negative 2. I put therefore, now I'm going to go straight to the answer now, t is equal to, and we're just going to do it straight onto the graphing calculator from Casio. So I've got a negative 1, I've got a, what is it? A 16 and a 40. Here we go, 16 and I've got a 40. Here we go. So solving for that, we get negative 2.198 and 18.198. So t is either equals negative 2.198, and I'm actually going to put in a few other things here, 3903, or t is equal to, and you should put the whole lot in, is 18.19803,903, and again, dot, 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 so put the ellipsis on the end. So therefore, t is equal to 18.198. I'm going to put exclude t is equal to negative 2.198 as model begins at t is equal to 0. So that's the start point, yeah? So before then, the model anything is irrelevant before then. So now what we're going to do is we're going to substitute this back into here. So sub t is equal to 18.198 into this thing here. So s is equal to, and I'm not actually, no, I will do the whole thing and hope it works because there's a lot of stuff I got to get in here. So it's going to be 18.19. See, I'm getting it wrong even just writing it in. Let alone doing the calculation. 18, here it is, 0.198. I think a sharper pencil might help a little here. That's going to be cubed on 3 plus 8 times 18.198. See, really what you're doing here is you're showing the examiner you understand what the process is and just what you would have gone through in order to find this final answer. So S is equal to. So let's go ahead now and try and throw this in. So it's 18.198. So I'm just going to get out of here for a second and see if, so exit menu, let's go 1. Let's just go answers for a second, see what the answer is. It's something else, right? So I'm actually going to write it in here. I'm going to 18.198. There it is, 18.198. Execute. So there it is. So I'm now going to use that as my number. So let's just try this now. So I'm going to have negative, and we're going to have the answer. We're going to have it cubed, so to the power of 3. Right. In fact, I'm going to have to put this on. No, I'm going to use the other calculator. I really don't like that calculator for doing a lot of stuff now. I've got used to this one. So it's going to be, let's try this one here. So it's going to be negative 18.198. Go. All right, there it is. So I'm going to have negative 18, no, put answer, I'm going to cube it, and I'm going to actually put the whole thing actually in brackets. So go along here and divide all of that by 3. Then I'm going to put plus, I've got the answer squared plus 40 times the answer. And what do we get? We get something awful. Okay, so that's not what we should end up with. I'm wondering why we're doing that. Let's have a look here. Oh, it's going to be 3 times the answer squared. So we've got to put plus an 8 in there. Now let's see where we end up with. Crikey, that's a huge answer. Hang about. So that can't be right either. So let's see. Okay, we can fast track all of this. I'm just wondering why we've got all of that. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to do it in separate bits, okay? Sorry about this. This is just really annoying, but anyway, that's how you should do it. The fact that I'm not doing it like that and getting it wrong is just weird. So I'm going to do it step by step. Here we go. So 18.198, that's what we're after. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it to the power of 3. And I'm going to divide it by 3. And I'm going to make that negative. So it's negative answer plus 8 times 18.198. And that is going to be squared plus 40 times 18.198. I think that will probably do it. I'm not quite sure why it got wrong before. And we've now got 13 point. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. So I don't know why it went wrong before. I just 13.68, 39737, 3 ... All right. So we want this to, and we're just going to say to 2dp, yeah, equals 13.68 point. I'm going to call this 40 and put here 2dp. I'm not quite sure what they would want, but that's what we would do. This, of course, is S is going to be distance, and it's going to be in meters. So that's what we found. So hopefully, and I'm not quite sure if we've got that now, but that does make a lot more sense. Okay, so that's the answer I've got, and hopefully that's right. Sorry about all the messing around here. I don't know what I typed in there, but you probably spot it as I go through it. I'm doing it in real time, and I'm not really too aware of my misdeeds as I push buttons. Okay, with reckless abandon. Okay, here we go.